Good morning, afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Dice Tower Q&A. It's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these. I think Chris did it last weekend, but welcome here to the Dice Tower. I'm in a good mood. It was a good weekend. Got a lot of gaming in. Got my suitcase back, so that's good. I had a good time with the family, so glad to have you all with us. I'm going to switch hats here. I like this hat. Matches this a little bit better. Alrighty, so if you've never been to one of these before, it is a Q&A where you can ask questions, and I may or may not answer them. I'll answer as many as I can or want to. So we'll get to a lot of questions. A couple things here. First of all, don't forget registration for Dice Tower East is open. Don't forget that if you backed our Kickstarter this year, go make sure your address is correct on GameFound. Go finish the Pledge Manager if you have not. And if you'd like to get some swag for the Dice Tower, check out dicetowerstore.com. Alrighty, well. And which of the national holidays is your favorite and why? Of the national holidays, straight up, it's probably Christmas, although I do like Easter a lot. And why? Well, as a Christian, I like the background of why these holidays exist, but I also like everything else surrounding them. Has your family played Ready, Set, Bet? You know what? No. I really do need to play that with them. I think the family would enjoy that a lot, actually. So, we'll have to see. Did I eat anything interesting this weekend? I did. Me and my wife went to, down to the Keys, Key Largo, and went to a place called Hobo Cafe, and I had Hobo Seafood, which is a delectable dish that had shrimp, scallops, and fish in it. And with mushrooms and other things on top of rice. It was delicious. We also had some gator and some chips and some good, really, really good ceviche. No key lime, though. No key lime. Very happy you got your hats back. Not as happy as I am. Ho, 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 ho. Don't forget the contest, says Mike. That is correct. Let's check this contest out, which means I need to pull up this and that and this and this. So this contest is for a $10 gift certificate from Game Nerds. Game Nerds, of course, great online game store, has all kinds of great games. Oh man, so many hot games coming out from Essen and things like that. Would you like to get one of those games? Game Nerds likely has it. You can order it from them, and what would be easier than ordering it from them if you had a $10 gift certificate, which you can win by emailing us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word saxophone, as in SAXOPHONE, and then in the body, put your address so that we know where to send it if you win, and answer the question, what's your favorite horn? Maybe it is a saxophone, but maybe it's a trumpet, maybe it's a trombone. Hi, Tom. I brought Ready, Set, Bet because of your review. And wow, what a fun game. Do you mostly play with the app or run the game? I mostly run the game. It's very fun. If I could play any sport really well, what would it be? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. If I could play any sport really well, I think I'd like to be good at baseball, maybe. What's the first game from the missing bag that you'll play? Oh, I don't know, actually. Maybe Ottawa, the new Rosenberg game, but Palaces of Carrara? I don't know which one I'll play. What's the earliest time you've put Christmas decorations? Well, we traditionally put them up the day after Thanksgiving. Some of them. Here in the studio, I'll probably decorate the studio a little earlier than that. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't know right now. I don't know what the earliest it is. Did I talk about the new studio? I did not, but the new studio, just today I got in a bunch of the foam for the walls, the sound foam. We'll be putting that up later. We need to let it poof out. It comes like condensed to this much, maybe a couple inches, but each of these packs is 10, and they're each 2 inches thick. So it expands a lot, and you're supposed to let it expand for 24 to 48 inches. So I have, so the studio, a lot of the studio is done. Now the next thing is to put in the sound foam on the sides and set up the lights. And then the last thing will be to get the audio ready, which is a big chunk of it. But our goal is to have it ready to go during the Winter Spectacular. What's my least favorite part of the board gaming hobby? Of the hobby itself, it's probably people who try to bring outside stuff into the hobby, whether it's politics or whatever it might be, or people who take gaming too seriously. It's just a fun hobby, man. Are there any more games you can tell us in the Dice Tower, the bag contest? No, as we get those games, we'll tell you as we have them. Do I have a personal favorite vacation destination? Well, it would most definitely be the cruise. But of all the places I've been to in my life, if I could go to any of them right now, Malaysia's probably my number one. Thailand's a pretty close second. But those are my 2 favorite places I've been to. Have you ever been to England? I have. I've been to the UK Games Expo multiple times, and each time I was able to visit different parts of London, which I liked. What's my favorite card in Hearthstone? I don't know if I have a single favorite card. I probably don't. You know what? When I first got into Hearthstone, it was the guy who added 5 random rares to your deck. I thought that was so cool. Or legendary cards to your deck. I thought that was so cool. Now I never play with them because I can just get the legendary cards that I want. I will say maybe the Gigantic Growth, I think it's, or whatever it's called. It's the one that adds 4/4 to every creature in your hand, deck, anywhere. That's a fun card to play. I also like all the new giant monsters they added in the deep set a couple sets ago. Tom, have you ever said something in a video or live stream that you later regret it? Either it was misconstrued or maybe cringy. Sure. That'd be weird if you never had anything you didn't regret saying. Dixit, Mysterium, or Obscuria, which one scratches your dreamy card game the best? Well, none of those, although of those 3, I like Dixit the best. Does the suitcase have stickers from around the world? Apparently, it looks like what happened was just a luggage. It was not a luggage sticker. It was just a luggage tag that came off. So from now on, I'll have nice custom Dice Tower luggage tags. Did I watch the Weird Al movie? I did not. I don't normally watch movies in the theater. I wait till they come out online. I'm not that excited about it because I heard that it's not really a story of Weird Al's life, which I would have been really fascinated with. But it's more of a dreamy thing. Maybe it's good. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Will I do a top 10 Marvel Snap cards? Huh. Maybe. But give me a while before I do that one. What board games do you recommend to introduce to new people? I don't necessarily recommend any particular game, but if you look up, we've called them top 10 introductory games, top 10 family games, top 10 gateway games. Look up lists for those and you'll have some. But usually when I'm introducing someone to a game, I find out something that I like and try to find a game that has that theme. When you come to visit your daughter here in Tampa, is it possible to meet up for coffee? No. Tea? Maybe. Boba tea? Sure. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to convince my daughter that she needs to visit me. I don't have to drive the 4 hours then. Both ways. How excited are you for the new Hearthstone class? Well, I didn't know there was a new one. So they added a new class in 2020, Ashes of Outland, the Demon Hunter. I remember that. And the new one is the Death Knight, apparently. See, I actually, and this is an old piece of news. I didn't know anything about this. I just kind of play Hearthstone. I look at the stuff, I play it. I don't get into the meta outside it. I build decks. I watch the decks against me played. I'm not particularly good at it. I just play for fun. And Death Knight is a cool idea. I was just thinking actually yesterday, I wonder if they'll ever add another class. But, you know, I didn't like the last class I added that much. It's still an okay class for me. It's not one of my favorite classes. I play it every once in a while. But maybe the new one I'll like. Who knows? Is it the new camera that's causing issues in the reviews? We do not know 100% what was causing some of the glitching that you saw last week, but we're going to be working on it and trying to figure out exactly what the problem is. We have some ideas and thoughts. We think we found the problem, but we're not sure yet. And it's not the new camera. We haven't used a new camera yet. PAX is around the corner. Any updates on a show? If you're asking about are we doing a show at PAX Unplugged, I can tell you as of today we are not. My apologies. I emailed PAX and they said, oh, sorry, there's no room for you. So they don't have room for us to do a show. So we'll be at our booth there so you can come by and say hi to us at the booth. So sorry about that. Summer Spectacular has the award show and trailers now, which is very exciting. Winter has the clip show. Well, the Winter Spectacular, the clip show is fun. But the main thing about the Winter Spectacular is it's the top 10 list of the year. That's the big draw of our Winter Spectacular. Did other shows have a special thing? No, not particularly. Not at this point in time. Have I started listening to Christmas music yet? I have. Ha ha ha. Have I ever laughed while drinking chocolate milkshake and it come out of your nose? No, I've never laughed while drinking a chocolate milkshake because chocolate milkshakes are amazing. Since the new HeroScape is most likely not going to fund, what do you hope will happen next? Oh yeah, let's look that up actually. HeroScape Pulse. And let's see how it's doing. They need 8,000 backers. They have 3,414 backers with only 8 days left. Who knows? It probably won't fund, but what do we know? Maybe it will fund. A bunch of people could come in last second. What is your favorite pitch car expansion? Well, I mean, those really long straight pieces are my favorite pitch car expansion. They're like the length of 4 long ones. After that, it would be the jump, which I believe was the first expansion. Have you ever won a contest? A couple small ones in my life of not importance. I'm a music teacher and interested to know which musical instrument you would like to cur. Oh, I don't know what that means. To be able to play well? Well, probably the piano. I mean, I can play the piano, but I can't play it like amazingly well. I can play some music that you've written down, not very well. I used to play piano for my church. When I grew up, I played piano for my church, and that was it. And I never really learned much more beyond that. I like to mess with the keyboard and play around with it. But the piano, I would love to be able to play honky-tonk really well on the piano. I also would like to learn how to really play a trumpet well. What time of the year do you usually do top 100? It's usually at the beginning of the year in January. Would you do a top 10 list games your kids can teach their friends by themselves and have fun? That's an interesting one. I might do that as a solo top 10 list at some point. Tom, do you have an example of a game that you actually like that BGG rates rather badly? Yeah, sure. Go back and look at I did a series called 10,000 and Below. And as you go through that series, you'll see many games that I looked at the lowest games on Board Game Geek, but many of those games I did enjoy. The new studio is in the same building, yes. Does reviewing games ever feel like work, especially when it's a game that is hard to learn, teach, or just not that interested in? Yes. I use exercise bands while gaming. What other non-distracting exercises have you seen people do while gaming? I don't think I've ever seen anyone do a non-distracting exercise while gaming. You may think the exercise band or whatever it is not distracting. It is 100% distracting to somebody. I don't know that everyone will likely say, no, it's no big deal, but in their head, they're thinking it's distracting. Tom, standard time or daylight savings? I don't care. Just pick one and stick with it. There's the full question. What musical instrument would you love to learn if you had the time to? Right, and again, it's kind of a cheat to say piano because I already know a lot about the piano, but I don't know how to play the piano well. But it would still be the piano because the piano is so versatile. And after that would be the trumpet. And again, I know a little bit about the trumpet. I know how to form the different notes in my mouth. I'm not very good at it, but I would love to be able to just rock that trumpet down. For instruments I don't know anything about at all, clarinet. My favorite classical music composer, Tchaikovsky. I mean, that seems like an easy answer because I find, well, again, I mean, can I say John Williams and be cheeky? But I like a lot of classical music, but I want my music to tell a story. And there's a lot of great classical pieces out there. I'm a big fan of, you know, Copland I like a lot. I like bits of Haydn, bits of Beethoven, bits of Mozart, bits of Bach. You know, I like bits of all those guys, but a lot of their stuff I find to be very similar. Beethoven, I think, is the best of that crew. Rimsky-Korsakov. Yeah, there's just, I mean, I don't know. I like classical music fine. I just find a lot of classical music tends to sound the same after a while. Some of it. What's your least favorite thing to occur at a game night? I recently hosted a game night and had some folks just not wanting to pay attention. How do you get around this issue? Don't play with them, I guess, if they don't want to pay attention. My least favorite thing to occur, I guess, would be if someone came in and murdered everybody. I don't know what you mean by that. A top 10 idea games for Magic the Gathering players. I like that. That's a good list. We'll do that at some point. I apologize. I mentioned this last week. I did get the hot sauce. In fact, I just used the hot sauce this weekend. What did I use it on? I used it on something. Oh, some potato wedges. It was delicious. Any new games this year you feel might break into your top 100? I know new games this year that will break into my top 100. But that would be spoilers. How did you manage to recover the lost luggage? A lady from Germany came in and really, really, really bothered them until they sent it to me. Thank you. Have you voted yet? No, I was going to vote early and I just didn't get around to it, so I will vote tomorrow morning. How pumped are you for the Slay the Spire board game as a video game enthusiast? Currently, my interest is kind of zero. I like Slay the Spire a lot. It works amazingly well. I think so much of it works because it's not a physical game. I have a hard time figuring out how they're going to make a physical game of it. Similar to Hearthstone. If they said they were making a physical game of Hearthstone, I'd be like, I love Hearthstone, but I don't know. I mean, it's doing really, really well, the Slay the Spire Kickstarter, but I'm not that pumped for it because it looks like it's almost a very faithful reprint, and then my question is, but why? So I can play with other people at the table, I guess, but you're not really, I don't know. Again, I could be completely wrong on this, and it might blow me away. I'm certainly willing for that to happen. My sister just got back from Thailand. She really enjoyed it. Everything's inexpensive except getting there. 100% yes. Would I do a top 10 with Angry Joe, the movie reviewer? Yeah, maybe, but if you notice, we don't do too many top 10s with people outside because we find that the ones here in the studio work the best. Oh, well, here's the very similar question. Chad says, I appreciated your Marvel Snap review. Would you be in favor of a dumbed-down version in a physical game? Maybe, but I mean, air, land, and sea already exists, and it's kind of the same thing. If base pandemic didn't hit for us, but we want to give a fair shake, which pandemic should we try next? Preferably not legacy. I wouldn't know what to tell you. I'd pick whatever theme you thought was interesting from the different themes. If you think Rome's interesting, if you think World of Warcraft or Star Wars, there's a lot of different versions out there. Am I watching Black Panther this week? That is the question. I might do that. I have some free time this week, and that sounds fun. Will you be going to the UK Games Expo next year? We're still talking about if we're going to do that or not. Top 10 giant board game boxes that you buy without the game in it. There will be enough for a list soon. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a trend I would like to see continue. Did I watch the World Series? I did not. Sorry. Have you started watching Hallmark Christmas movies yet? No, but I am planning. So I'm prepping my family. So we saw this is a little bit off topic, but we saw the trailer for Disenchanted, the sequel to Enchanted. And me and my wife were like, yay! And my kids were like, what's Enchanted? And I realized I have two teams of children, Melanie, Amy, Holly. We call them Team A. And then Claire, Violet, Ruby. And then Jimmy, of course. That's Team B. Team A is out of the house. They all saw Enchanted. Enchanted came out 15-some years ago. And I realized my kids had never seen Enchanted. So we all watched Enchanted last week. That way, we can watch Disenchanted when it comes out. Same thing with A Christmas Story. They're doing the sequel to A Christmas Story. So I'm like, oh no, I got to show my kids A Christmas Story, which we'll see how that goes over because I love A Christmas Story and my wife hates it. Our feelings about it are very similar to the feelings over the lamp in A Christmas Story. It's pretty funny, actually, but she really hates that movie, and I really like it. But anyway, yeah, I don't mind. I don't know the antagonism against Hallmark Christmas movies. They're fine. They're just meaningless, fun things, and so many movies take themselves too seriously, and these movies never do. I don't know how many of them I would watch, but I'm always amused by them. What's your take on the Castle of Mad King Ludwig controversy? I know nothing about what you're talking about, but I will say that the king was not, like, they called him Mad King Ludwig. So if there's controversy about why he built all these castles and why they were built so weirdly, the guy's dead, so I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. Do you guys put on makeup for videos? Unfortunately, not very often. We probably should put a little bit more makeup on so the lighting gets us better, but Is there a game whose name you just keep getting wrong? Many of them. There's a game recently I just kept calling it by the wrong name over and over and over again. I forgot what it was, but everyone kept laughing at me. Kickstarter and GameFound are crowdfunding platforms. Pulse is a hostage negotiator platform. I don't even know what that means. You mean that Hasbro's like, hey, if this doesn't fund, we won't make it? Oh, okay. I don't know what to tell you. Isn't that how Kickstarter works? I don't know what the difference there is really. When it comes to dice board games, you prefer normal dice or marble dice? I love marble dice. Now, they have to be readable, but I love marble dice. What's the best way to light a YouTube video? I don't know that I can speak to that because apparently we're not very good at it. I'm visiting Florida in March. What's your favorite theme park? Universal Studios. Now, I don't know which of the Universal Studios. There's Universal Studios, and then there's Islands of Adventure. I like them both for very different reasons. Tom, do you ever get worn out? Sure, and then I take a nap. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, right? Why did you guys kind of mock the idea of the nesting box last Thursday? When you have all the expansions, a lot of people have upgraded their pieces. It's much needed. I'm so glad I was able to get it. Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily mocking it. I am talking about the fact that you are paying $60 for a box. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I know there's things inside it. I'm not on as board with these gigantic boxes. I get why people like them, but I don't necessarily see the value in the giant boxes. They're terrible for transportation to take anywhere. And if I'm going to go to my friend's house, unless I want to, we're going to play, Wingspan with the Europa expansion, I can bring Wingspan and the Europa expansion. In fact, I can fit both of those in the base box. Now, if you want to play with everything, fine, then this fits that well, but you're probably playing at home. I get why people want it. I get why people like these giant boxes. I'm not saying they're bad, but I also don't know that I think they're good. I think the Everdell box is ridiculously gigantic, and this is a trend now. Every game has to be huge, gigantic. Each box is bigger than the last. And I find that these big boxes actually cause people to play the games less because of how much work it is to get everything out. But I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you have it. That's fine. I'm just not as big of a fan of it. Favorite snack for watching movies? For me and my family, and I don't do this very often at the moment because I'm trying not to eat unhealthily, but an ice cream sundae is our favorite snack. We all get the ice cream sundae. I have tons of toppings. We get all the toppings. We get the ice cream. Everyone gets their toppings, and then we play the movie. Fantastic. How does one contribute to the board game smorgasbord breakfast? For board game smorgasbord, there is no contributors. You'll notice I moved them all to board game breakfast. Smorgasbord has some people who are straight Dice Tower people doing it. Z will do it, Brian Drake, and now Joey. But all those people are Dice Tower only folks. And so those are the people, and I've asked them to do just a few segments. You won't see much more than that. You might see a segment from Camilla, but that's it. What kind of music do you hate? I don't know that there's any music that I hate, like all of that music. Like, I'm not a huge fan of country western music, although I do love Southern gospel and they're kissing cousins. But there's some western songs I like. I don't like rap for the most part, but I've heard a few rap songs I enjoyed. I don't like opera particularly, but there's some operas that are fantastic. So I don't know if there's any kind of music I'll take that back. There is one. I don't like screamo at all. And I don't like heavy metal. It's just not my style. Have you ever been late for any convention? I don't think it's happened yet where we've been late. Our delays always seem to be on the way back. Do you know what Harry Potter house you're in? Yeah, I'm the janitor. I think, everyone always yells about Harry Potter this, Harry Potter that. I'm still mind-boggled as a teacher. Like, J.K. Rowling is clearly not a teacher. I'm amazed that, she worked with kids at all. If she thought the idea of putting kids into 4 different houses, based on their traits, and then keeping them together, pitting them against each other, was a good idea. That is mind-boggling. I mean, the dumbest of teachers would tell you that that's a terrible idea. To then split the teachers into these houses and allow them to just randomly give points to whatever team they think does well. It's just mind-blowing. It's a terrible, terrible idea across the board. Straw hat or felt hat? I am a much bigger fan of felt hats because straw hats get destroyed pretty easily. Worst movie I've seen in the cinema this year? I don't know that I've seen more than 2. I think I've seen the Marvel movies. That might be it. I saw Thor, Doctor Strange. Were they the only two? Was there another Marvel movie? I don't see many movies in the theaters. It's a very expensive way to watch movies. Some exercises are so discreet, no one knows you are doing it. Well, but you can't ask me the question, what exercise do people do if I don't know they're doing it? If I notice they're doing it, it's distracting. Hypothetically, if I was winning the lottery, how much of a donation would you take to play Pandemic Legacy Season 1 start to finish in a marathon? I'd do it for a cool $1 million. Have I ever gone skiing or snowboarding? Neither, unfortunately. Have you tried the new Monolith game by CMON? We're actually reviewing that this week. Top 5 songs that you can't help but sing along with. I don't know if there will be a top 5, but definitely Sweet Caroline. I don't think I've ever heard that and not sung along with it, or at least sang the dun dun dun. Who Let the Dogs Out? Songs that you always sing along with. We Will Rock You. That's required. And We Are the Champions. Both those songs, you have to sing along with those. Unless, of course, it's the opposing team singing it, I suppose. What's my favorite musical genre? I don't necessarily have one. I just like happy music. You know, whatever it is. I mean, I have peaceful music. I have a bunch of songs in my I have a bunch of songs in my I have a Dice Tower Peaceful, it's called, and it's just peaceful music. And these are not done, they're usually done by some like I have Here Comes the Sun and Yesterday, but they're different people that are singing these songs. Here Comes the Sun by Sarah Manescal, Yesterday from Betty Says. I got Danny's song, Can't Take My Eyes Off You, but this one's done with a piano. House at Pooh Corner. I got a lot of Kenny Loggins. He does some, a lot of these songs have the word love in them. But this is what I listen to at night when I'm just kind of chilling. But I like songs like this. They're just peaceful. But for the most part, I listen to more cheerful music. Have you ever done a top 10 games that aren't as complex as they look? No, but that's a great idea. You guys should email me these ideas because then I stick them in a little vault I have. Did you ever get that lost copy of Dixit with all the expansions back? I don't know if I did or not. Maybe? I don't remember. Alrighty. Let's see here. Chris Yee has taken over my chat. And so there's no questions because he's busy talking to people about classical music. So, Slay the Spire board game, says H. Rivera 173. The reason to own that is in case the power goes out and you really want to play Slay the Spire. That's not a great reason. If the power goes out, I just play a bunch of other games. All right. Are you guys going to start leaning into the shorts format? We might do some shorts. We do a component drop short each week now. We might do some more. Sniper Elite, My Father's Work, and Ready, Set, Bet are games that might make his top 100. Interesting. I cannot speak for my top 100 because I haven't made it yet. But I do have my top 10 for the year ready. And all I can say is that this statement is false, but I can't tell you what makes it false. Has there been a Dice Tower newsletter recently? Well, I think one's going out today. Do you ever delete your videos? I could have sworn you reviewed Coffee Roaster. Well, I might have reviewed it on the podcast. I might have reviewed it as a series of a bunch of short games. I don't remember. Any thoughts on the new YouTube update? I just like that videos are now split between the video shorts and live tab on the channel page. I like being able to just click videos and see everything. I agree. I've gotten many emails from people asking, where'd the live video go? Well, they're still there. You have to click the live tab to see them now. That being said, I don't know that complaining will get us anywhere. It sounds like it's just the way YouTube is now, so what can I do about it? And maybe we'll get used to it and then wonder how we used to do it the old way. Let's see here. What are your favorite Christmas-themed games? There's not a lot of Christmas-themed games, but there are a few. This sounds like a top 10 list that I've either done. I don't think I've done it yet. Maybe I have. Maybe I did it last year. I don't remember. But I might do that soon, too. Have you ever done a look-back video of games you've rated a 10? I don't know what you mean by that. Just like all the games I've ever rated a 10 and where they are today, I would have a hard time remembering that, I think. I saw Mike had a chance to play Unconscious Minds at a convention. Were you able to play it? I was able to play it. I just refused to. For better or for worse, folks, with the exception of some things that we play here live for you that we're paid to do, I don't play games before they're published. It's a straight thing. You can ask any publisher or designer who asked me at a convention. I give them all that same answer. I have made rare exceptions for that, and sometimes I'll play a game for Dice Tower Essentials. And I played Roy's game, but for the most part, I just will not do it. I only have so much time in my life, and there's so many new games to play all the time that I do it. That's the main reason I do it, just because of time purposes. I also think for you all, it's really best. You already have the vast majority of board game content out there right now is Cult of the Future. Straight up. It's all about Kickstarter games, things that are coming out. Everyone's telling you how amazing these games on Kickstarter are. That's fine. You know, we do need people to talk about them. But I figured if everyone else can do that, why don't I talk about games that are actually published? So that's what I like to do. When did you last have a dice off? I have no idea what you're talking about. How do you cook your turkey on Thanksgiving? We fry it. We fry it. I just bought the turkey oil over the weekend because I thought, hey, it's on sale. Get my free turkey from Costco. Or BJ's, sorry, not Costco, BJ's. And then I will be buying several more turkeys. And we're going to fry those suckers up. Is there any board games about classical music or composers? Yes. Yes, there are many. Not many, there are a few. Have you played the Final Fantasy trading card game? I have not. Now that there's 7 reviewers in the studio, when are we seeing a Diplomacy live play? In 2099. I feel safely I'll be dead by that point. If the Dice Tower crew got stranded on the island, which games are luckily in their backpacks? Well, for me, there would be none. I don't carry games in my backpack. I carry a bunch of stuff that I think I might need for emergencies, but games are not one of them. What do you think of the Foundations of Rome box? That's a big box. It is a big box. It holds all the miniatures. I've said it before. I think I would like it more if it was smaller. I would. But it is big. It's what it is. I'm just hoping that doesn't become the norm. If you had to move from Florida, what would be the next best place you'd like to live for low cost of living, low crime, good weather, and of course, good board game opportunities? Malaysia. You can see why a publisher would make these big boxes. Their customers want them, got to make that money. Oh, yeah, I get that. What's the most expensive empty box you bought? I haven't bought many of them. I bought the big Sentinels of the Multiverse box back in the day, so probably that one. The Frostpunks box is bigger than Everdell's. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got it yet. How do you enjoy having your hats back with you? Oh, it's very nice to see them back. Up here in Michigan, fall is all about going to apple orchards to get apple cider and donuts. Do you do anything similar in the South? Yeah, here in the fall, we're like, hey, it's not so hot outside. Will there be any more collaborations with other content creators? Possibly. You never know. Do you think board games should transition to having plastic or wooden boxes? Cardboard stinks. No. What do you mean cardboard stinks? You want your box to be wooden or plastic? First of all, they would be very heavy. Wow, I don't think I would like that at all. What grade do you teach? I don't teach any grade at all now, but in my life I taught kindergarten when I was in Korea for a while, kindergarten and first grade. And then I taught 7th through 12th in maths and other things. How was my Halloween? Very long. Very long. Jess Frogger says Harry Potter is fiction. Oh. That doesn't mean I have to like the philosophies behind it, though. And that's why I don't care about the houses. When someone says they're team Slytherin, what am I supposed to think? Does that just mean you like being the bad guy? Almost always, by the way, as a heads up. Anytime when someone's like Slytherin, they're like not the bad guy. They just want to be the bad guy, I guess. Then people pick Gryffindor because they're the heroes. They picked Hufflepuff because it's kind of cool to say that because it's not Gryffindor. And they pick Ravenclaw because who knows why. Again, it doesn't mean anything. So I don't even know what that means. Are these like the 4 character personality types? Do you think there will ever be a trend where... Yes. I think there will always be a trend of something. Who knows? Will there be smaller versions of the bigger box? Possibly. House systems in school are common. You mean where you get put into one house and stay there the entire time you're there? Then I'm sorry, that's dumb. It really is. Because if you don't match, you don't work well, you form cliques that way, it's a bad idea. I don't mind, like Board Game Clan, the schools actually have that stuff. My school had houses. You can make teams up. But in Harry Potter, they're living together. They did not really want to associate with other people. They were encouraged. The competitions were not particularly friendly at all. And at the end, they basically said one whole house was bad. That just, I don't like that. You're not necessarily meant to play everything in a big box at once. You probably almost never are, actually. Sure, I get that. You're not supposed to play everything in a big box at once. Then I don't want to have to carry that big giant box around either then. If I'm just going to play one expansion a thing. Again, I get why big boxes are good for a lot of people. It wasn't based on traits, felt rather random. I don't know that that's true, because remember when Harry Potter put the hat on, he's like, please not Slytherin, and the house like, fine, but you seem like that's the place you want to go. And everyone in Slytherin kind of acted the same, or kind of evil, and it does feel like it was based on traits. What is my favorite streaming service? I don't know. It's probably still Netflix, I guess. So I tried out a lot of different streaming services. I've cut several of them out. The ones that I would keep for sure, I guess I would go there. Well, obviously I have Amazon Prime, but that's nothing to do with the streaming service. It's because I use Amazon Prime. So that one's like free. So that's a good one. Okay, there's a lot of things I like about it. It has the different channels you can pay for. I haven't found any of those channels to be worth it. Like none of them. So there's that. I have Hulu, which is fine, although I'm finding Hulu's less interesting as time goes by. So then the big three for me, the three that I always check when I'm watching something, is not even Amazon Prime, is Netflix. Netflix is always the first place I go to. Then after Netflix, I'll go to HBO Max because they have a lot of good stuff there these days. And then Disney Plus is the other one with the kids. There's so much kids stuff there, but also I like Star Wars, I like Marvel, etc. Worst is Baby Shark. I really wish you would not sing it. Well, I'm not going to right now, but I don't know that Baby Shark makes me want to sing along, though. How long does it take you to open a review game until you hit record on a review video? I'll tell you what, there's nothing there that is set in stone about that. There is no sort of... There is no set in stone on that regard. Can I hear the story about your carjacking and court appearance now? Well, back when I was a carjacker, no, I think I've told this before. It's not as exciting as it sounds. When I was just married, we were married, I'll say 6 months into our marriage. Maybe 7 or 8 months. It was, and the reason I remember that more specifically is my wife was pregnant, and my daughter was born 9 months after we got married. So she was very pregnant. Anyway, I ran a bus route for our church. I drove a 15-passenger van and drove around and picked up different kids and people who wanted to come to church. So I had a different route, and I drove it every morning. And so we lived behind the church, and it was a dark area there, no lights. There's lights there now, but there wasn't at the time. And I left the van unlocked because, I don't know, I'm lazy. So a guy robbed a Pizza Hut and ran and hid from the police and lay down in the very back seat of the van to hide from them and fell asleep. Didn't know this stuff. So me and my wife, we got up in the morning, we got in the van, we took it around, and I was like, man, nobody's coming. One teenage girl came, and that was it. She was sitting in the front row. The 15-passenger has 4 rows of seats, right? 3, 3, 3, 4, 2. Yes. And I then heard some new noise and movement. After a while, I had stopped to get gas, too, and I heard some noise and movement. And I turned and I thought a teenager in the back seat. Comes to turn out wasn't a teenager. And I was just kind of sitting there for a while just thinking. It just was like a slow dawning of, did someone get in? Did I pick up a kid and I missed it? Did they get in when I got gas? And then they basically said, listen, they didn't want any trouble. That they would, they didn't want to hurt us. They had something in their pocket. And we needed to take them to a specific address. Well, I knew where that address was. So I was like, all right. And I got to be honest, I wish I could say, there's 2 things. One is, afterwards, I could not remember what the person looked like much at all. They showed me a lineup, and I picked the person I thought might have done it. And you would have think that I would have stared in that rearview mirror and looked at that person. But for some reason, that kind of just blew out of my head. And I definitely understand how people don't remember things. I just remember nothing. About how the person looked. I knew some of their characteristics, but that was it. But also, the whole time I was thinking, this can make a great story, I thought. But I was also thinking, like, okay, I want to get this person out of my van. So I'm driving, and I was speeding. If you know me at all, I'm not a particularly good driver, and I'm not a particularly fast driver. But I was speeding, hoping I would get pulled over, and of course I didn't. And we finally got to the place where the person wanted to go. There was no talking at all. Everyone was very quiet. And the guy got out of the car, threw a $20 bill in the seat, which makes me the first Uber, and then ran off. And then we were like, well, all right, what do we do now? And just then a police car drove by, and oh, I know. The other thing was, this was when this first happened. This is when cell phones were just coming out. I had a cell phone, but I didn't bring it with me at that point, because at that point in my life and everyone's lives, you were not carrying cell phones everywhere. It makes sense that I would have brought one with me, but I didn't, because I would have done the whole. I was gonna be like, I'd call 911 and then just be like, sir, where are we going? Where are you forcing us to go? You know, that sort of thing. It all sounds good in your head, you know, but anyhow, I didn't have my cell phone. So I didn't have a cell phone when we dropped them off, so we didn't know what to do. And the police car came by, so I just pulled my van out right in front of the police car to make them swerve around me, which they were very, very annoyed about. But then I explained what happened to them, and they caught the guy real quickly. We were there for a while. They went in the neighborhood. They found him. Whatever. They were looking for the person already. So that was that. The detective showed up a week or so later, showed me a lineup. Like I said, I picked the person I think it was, and I think I was correct, actually, but I just was not very strong in that regard. My court appearance, they asked me to come into court, was very boring. All they did was, the defense lawyer just basically said, asked me what was told to me, was I afraid? And I had to be honest, you have to be honest, I wasn't that afraid, but I didn't know what the guy had in his pocket. Did he have a knife? You know, whatever it was. It was a knife, by the way. It wasn't a gun or anything, just a knife. And then he asked me to stand up. And I always remember that, like, well, there you go, because the person who did it was a small guy, and they were like, why would this huge person be intimidated by a small person? Well, I'll tell you, when your wife is pregnant and there's a teenage girl in the car, you're not trying to be a hero. So anyhow, I think that person went to jail, but not for the carjacking. They went to jail for the robbery itself. Anyway, it's not as exciting of a story as it sounds. Could have been more exciting. All right. Who's the most famous person you've ever met? I met the president of Iceland. That was cool. Well, I guess maybe Trey Parker. Fight for Your Right to Party from the Beastie Boys. Yeah, that's one I think you always sing when you hear it, too. Although you don't sing that one and Great Balls of Fire. No one sings the whole song, though. You just sing the one part. There's a lot of songs like that where everyone sings one part, then you're like, na 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 na. You sing the rest of it, you don't know. Did I like the Uncharted movie? Not particularly. There were moments in it that I was amused by, but I thought the whole movie as a whole was ridiculous stupidity. Like, really stupid. It was like they saw the Fast and the Furious movies and were like, we can do that. I mean, at one point, there are ships hanging from helicopters, old-timey ships, shooting cannons at each other. It was so dumb. So dumb. And also the motivations and everything for all the characters just didn't work for me. Would you ever go vegan if the doctor said I had to? Other than that, though, I really, really like to eat meat. Let's see here. If you could attend any convention with no responsibilities and you attended as an attendee, what would it be? I don't know, all of them. I like conventions, but if just as an attendee, I would go to Gen Con because I would want to play games, but also see all the new cool stuff. And then I would want to go to a convention where I get to play a lot of games, so Dice Towers. Have you ever had crazy fans at a convention? For example, fans tackling you for your precious hats? No. When did you last have a dance-off? I think that's never. What tech do you use to stream? Really interested in that. Can we have a video on that? Currently, we use a program called Ecamm for our streaming. So we mix that with a bunch of other stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and maybe we'll do a video on that someday. Is there a way to know if a game like Ready, Set, Bet is going to work for a group? If I'm hosting, does it all fall on my enthusiasm while rolling the horses? It might be, but then again, you have the app for that sort of thing. Well, no one will be playing Diplomacy in 2099 if we're to believe peripherals from Amazon Prime. I've been watching that so far. It's interesting. I'll probably review it when it's done. Do you project to, I like that, that's a good word. Do you project to personally review all 4 failed city collections soon? I don't know about soon, but I do project that I will review them. How do you organize accessories, hats, ties, suspenders, etc.? Do you have a massive walk-in closet? For hats, I have them here at the studio hanging from the wall. For ties, I have a rack that spins around, and I have 5 of those filled with ties. Suspenders are just in a drawer. What do you think the best city, town in North America to live in as a board gamer? I get asked this question a lot. Indianapolis, Columbus, Seattle, DC, Dallas. That's what I would pick. Tom, thanks for being upbeat and positive. Have you always been like that? I don't think I'm always like that now. There's a lot of times where I'm not positive. You can ask my family. Or if you had to work on it throughout your life. I think you have to work to be positive. I think that on one hand, I think people should be positive. We have way more good things going for us than not. But at the same time, definitely something that doesn't always come naturally to most people. Let's see here. You have to take the Pottermore quiz? No, I think those things are trash. I hate every quiz that always says you do this, do this, do this, and that tells you what amazing thing you are. I'd love to see one was like, you're a piece of trash. But like, what breakfast cereal am I? I like to give you a hint. I'm no breakfast cereal. Let's see here. Going through, almost done here. Do you watch Lego Masters? I watched it for a little bit, but I felt there was so much filler in it that I was kind of annoyed with it. I don't need to... I know they need filler for these shows, but I don't need to see people's backstories and all that. I just want to see them build cool things out of Legos, and there was just so much filler, I'd rather them just show me the finished product. I don't know. That's the way I feel about a lot of these shows. Like, I would just like to watch the ending of the show when they show what they've done. Cliques form in schools based on similarities between people regardless of houses in real life all the time. I know. I know they do. So why would I encourage that? Tom, sponsorship clearly does not affect review scores, but have you ever delayed a review? There was one game from a sponsor that seemed to take months to get a mediocre review. Sure, and that may happen. Well, I mean, we delay reviews here all the time for various reasons. We're not ready to review it yet or whatever. If I'm currently sponsoring a board game, I'm not going to trash the game in that same time I'm sponsoring it. So sometimes I wait till the sponsoring stops before we review the game. But like I said, we don't let it disaffect us at all. I mean, I don't know where else you can find more of a proof than that of the review of the Jurassic Park game, who paid for a paid playthrough, but then they did not like it at the end at all. Probably a dumb question, but I can't find the Bag of Games giveaway information on the website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's the top video. It's the #1 video. If you go to Dice Tower YouTube channel, it is the video that starts playing when you go there. Of all the monthly subscriptions, Spotify is the most worth it, hands down. I agree. How many dice do you own? Tens of thousands. Are you a collector? Yes. Now, maybe tens of thousands is... maybe not. I have a lot of dice. Key lime pie with a chocolate crust or graham cracker crust? I've only ever had it with a graham cracker crust. I don't even know what it would taste like with a chocolate crust. All right, you know what? That's it. I got to end here, folks. So I apologize. That's all there is for today, especially with live stuff, but we'll be back tomorrow morning. We have the next in our, what do you call it? Our showdown in the, sorry folks, my mind just went blank. There's a showdown game tomorrow. Let me pull it up here so that I'm saying the right thing. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Disney Sorcerer's Arena. I don't know why my mind went blank there. Round 2 is tomorrow morning, so we'll talk about it then. And that's happening tomorrow, so we'll see you there then. I think that's the only live thing tomorrow. But we got more live things coming up. We're recording reviews. In fact, when I'm done here, I'm going to record some reviews for you all. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate everybody showing up. Don't forget to check out our swag at dicetowerstore.com. But until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and we'll see you guys next time.